On December the 11th, 1994, Philippine Airlines Flight 434, 2 hours into the second leg of a routine flight from Manila to Tokyo, an unsuspecting passenger is sitting on a ticking bomb. The explosion on board cripples the flight control system. Unless the pilot can regain control, the jumbo jet may crash into the Pacific Ocean.
434. A bomb has exploded on board. Bravo. Oscar, Mike, bravo.
The bombing is a frightening new development by a terrorist on the cutting edge of science. 26-year-old Amaldo Forlani makes an early start. Forlani is not his real name. It's the alias he's chosen for today's mission. He's actually from Pakistan, not Italy. He is putting his latest invention through an important test. Everything must go like clockwork. In his line of work, there's no room for error. He is a highly skilled terrorist bomb builder. He packs the liquid explosive bomb very carefully. From his apartment downtown, it takes less than 30 minutes to get to the airport. He arrives in plenty of time for his 5 a.m. flight with Philippine Airlines. Before he can board, the bomber must outwit airport security screening procedures. He's designed the components of his bomb to pass undetected by X-ray and metal detection equipment, or so he hopes. He bought the ticket as Amaldo Forlani. He's a skilled forger, and he has made himself a fake Italian passport with that identity. If his cover is blown, his career as a globe-trotting terrorist is over. Having successfully got the bomb through airport security, he boards his Philippine Airlines flight. The final destination of PAL 434 is Tokyo, but there's a stopover in the Philippine resort town of Cebu, over 550 kilometers to the south of Manila. This is as far as the bomber is flying today. Flight 434 is under the command of Captain Ed Reyes, a former Air Force pilot who's been flying for Philippine Airlines for 9 years. The first leg of the flight is fairly empty. Passengers are scattered around the jumbo jet's 400 seats. After takeoff, the bomber is able to move. He chooses seat 26K, located directly over the center fuel tank in some 747s. Now the bomber must find a vacant lavatory to assemble the explosive device. Arming the bomb only takes minutes, but requires total concentration. The final step is setting the timer, so it will explode in 4 hours' time, long after he leaves the plane. He hides the bomb in the life jacket pocket underneath his seat. As Philippine Airlines Flight 434 begins its final approach into Cebu, more passengers are getting ready to board the aircraft that will take them onwards to Tokyo. PAL 434 lands in Cebu at 6:50 a.m. and several of the passengers disembark, including the terrorist with the alias Amaldo Forlani. 256 new passengers board the 747 that arrived from Manila. All passengers for Philippine Airlines Flight 434 are now on board for the leg to Tokyo. None of them is aware that 2 hours earlier, a terrorist planted a time bomb under one of their seats. PAL 434 is cleared for takeoff. Haruki Ikegami is seated in 26K, the seat occupied by the bomber earlier on the first leg of Flight 434 from Manila to Cebu. 2 hours into the flight, PAL 434 is cruising on autopilot 10,000 meters above Minami Daito Island, southern Japan. The autopilot remains on throughout the flight, keeping the aircraft on a constant heading and altitude. Although the autopilot instantly corrects the aircraft's bank to the right, the effect of the blast is far from over. Yukihiko Usui is sitting in the row directly behind the explosion. Both his legs are badly wounded. Steward Fernando Bayot moves him away from the blast site. Bayot now turns his attention to Haruki Ikegami. He has been swallowed by the smoking hole where seat 26K used to be. After the struggle to lift him out, Bayot realizes that part of the lower half of Ikegami's body is missing. Within a couple of minutes, he died. The cabin crew do not want Ikegami's death to panic passengers, so they pretend to minister to him. Bayot then reports to the captain.
Okay, keep the passengers calm. Make sure they stay in their seats. There's been an explosion in row 26. 1 dead and several injured, and the cabin's full of smoke. Go inspect the damage, Deck.
Reyes' first concern is that the blast could make a hole in the aircraft's skin. This would lead to sudden depressurization in the cabin and necessitate an emergency descent. In the cabin, one of the injured passengers needs urgent medical attention, and Reyes decides to try and land at Naha Airport on the island of Okinawa. located 74 kilometers to the west. He orders the co-pilot to make a mayday call. The autopilot is not responding to any of Reyes' commands, and PAL 434 is heading straight past Okinawa. Reyes must find a way to steer if he is to have any chance of landing safely. But disengaging the autopilot might result in losing what minimal control he still has over the aircraft. Reyes tries brute force to activate the aileron, the panels on each wing which turn the aircraft. Since the explosion, he can only fly straight. It's taking much longer to land than was announced. Reyes comes up with another plan. Captain Reyes increases thrust to the engines on the left-hand side of the plane and reduces power to the engines on the right. Very slowly, the aircraft starts to circle right. He then lowers his speed to make a smaller radius turn. With guidance from air traffic control, Reyes hopes that the maneuver will eventually line up with the runway at Naha. In order to land safely, Reyes will need at least minimal control over the elevator and rudder. As PAL 434 nears Naha, he continues to reduce his airspeed. As the time to touchdown gets closer, Reyes worries that the bomb may have done more as yet unknown damage to the aircraft. With only minimal control over the aircraft, Reyes faces the most challenging landing of his career. As PAL 434 starts its final approach, the 292 people on board are pinning their hopes of survival on the skill of Captain Ed Reyes. The Philippine Airlines 747 is now a crime scene under Japanese jurisdiction, as investigators from the Okinawa Police Department set out to solve the mystery of what happened.